Hi United fans, strap yourselves in because this one could be absolutely massive for the future of Manchester United. We're not talking about a small tweak or a squad filler, we're talking about a potential statement signing. A deal that could reshape the entire midfield for years to come. Reports are now emerging that Manchester United are seriously working on a move for Sandro Tonali ahead of the summer window. And this is not just casual interest. According to journalist Christopher Michel, United are actively exploring what it would take to bring the Newcastle United star to Old Trafford. Let's break this down properly because there are layers to this story. First, the player himself. Tonali arrived at Newcastle United from AC Milan in 2023 with huge expectations. A deep-lying midfielder with elite passing range, tactical intelligence, and the ability to dictate tempo. Since then, he has made over 100 appearances, contributing goals and assists, but more importantly, control. He is the kind of player you build a midfield around. So why would he even consider leaving? This is where context matters. Newcastle are currently sitting outside the European places, and with just a handful of games left, their chances of qualifying for Europe next season are uncertain. For a player like Tonali, who has played at the highest level in Italy and tasted success, that matters. And according to reports, he is open to a move to Manchester United. Now pause there for a second, because being open and actually moving are two very different things. Newcastle are in a strong position. Tonali is under contract until 2029. They do not need to sell. And if they even consider it, the price is huge, around £100 million. That would make him one of the most expensive signings in United's history, surpassing even the fee paid for Paul Pogba back in 2016. And if there is one thing we know about Eddie Howe's side, it is this. They are tough negotiators. Just look at how long it took to agree the deal for Alexander Isak last summer. So if United want Tonali, they will have to go all in. But here is the bigger picture. This is not just about one player. This is about a midfield rebuild. Casemiro is expected to leave at the end of the season. His contract is winding down, his wages are massive, and realistically, he is not part of the long-term future anymore. Meanwhile, Manuel Ugarte has struggled for consistent minutes. There is already interest from clubs in Italy and even moves explored earlier this year. So United are preparing for change. And Tonali fits the profile perfectly. He is proven at the highest level. He understands elite systems. He can control games, break lines, and bring balance to a midfield that has often lacked consistency. Imagine this for a second. Kobbie Mainoo alongside Tonali. Youth and composure combined with tactical intelligence and experience. That is not just a midfield, that is a foundation. But here is the reality check. A £100 million deal is not simple. Qualification for the Champions League will be crucial. Without it, pulling off a move of this scale becomes significantly harder. Financially and in terms of player attraction. This is where Michael Carrick's current run becomes even more important. He has taken United into third place, unbeaten in weeks, building momentum, building belief, and potentially building the platform for signings like this to become possible. Because top players want Champions League football, they want stability, they want a clear project. And right now, United are starting to look like a club with direction again. But there are still questions. Do United really spend £100 million on one midfielder, or do they spread that investment across multiple positions? Names like Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton, and others have been linked. Different profiles, different price points, different risk levels. Tonali is the statement option, the "we are back" signing, but it comes with pressure, expectation, and financial commitment. So let me throw it to you. If you had the choice, would you go all in for Tonali, or would you build smarter and bring in 2 or 3 players instead? Do you see Tonali as the perfect replacement for Casemiro, or a completely different kind of midfielder? And most importantly, does this kind of move depend entirely on Champions League qualification? Drop your thoughts below. This is the kind of decision that defines summers and shapes eras. Manchester United are preparing for the trip to Bournemouth on Friday night, and the mood around Carrington this week is one of genuine confidence, genuine belief, and the kind of quiet but burning optimism that comes from a club that can see exactly where it is heading and exactly what it needs to do to get there. Sunday's 3-0 victory over Aston Villa was enormous, not just for the 3 points, not just for the table position, but for what it meant in the context of the Champions League qualification race that has been the defining mission of Michael Carrick's extraordinary second stint in charge of this football club. Let us put Sunday's result into its full and proper context. Manchester United won, Aston Villa lost, Chelsea lost, Liverpool lost. All three of United's closest rivals for the top four dropped points on the same afternoon that Carrick's side were beating one of those very rivals at Old Trafford in a performance that carried the hallmarks of a team that genuinely believes its moment has arrived. United now sit third in the Premier League table, a position that carries with it the automatic Champions League qualification that this club has been chasing since Carrick walked back through the Carrington doors in January, with the team sitting 7th, 3 points outside the top four and 11 points behind Villa in third. 11 points behind Villa. That was the mountain that needed to be climbed, and in 9 matches under Carrick, producing 22 points from a possible 27, United have not just climbed that mountain. They have gone past it and planted their flag at the summit. The Champions League qualification picture has never looked brighter for this club in recent years, and the numbers that Carrick's tenure has produced deserve to be celebrated and appreciated in their full extraordinary context. 22 points from 9 games. A record that includes wins over Manchester City, Arsenal, Fulham, Tottenham, Everton, Crystal Palace and now Aston Villa. The only defeat came at Newcastle in a match that felt more like a temporary setback than a crisis. And even that result did not cost United a single place in the top 4, given how the broader results fell on the same evening. United have a 5-point advantage over Liverpool and a 6-point lead over Chelsea with 8 matches remaining. And the mathematics of the situation are becoming increasingly clear and increasingly favourable with every passing weekend. The most significant tactical and statistical reality facing United's rivals in this Champions League race is the fixture list that lies ahead. Carrick's team have no European distraction to manage, no FA Cup run to navigate, no midweek continental football eating into the recovery time between Premier League matches. 8 league games. That is all that stands between Manchester United and Champions League football next season. While Liverpool are managing their Champions League campaign against Galatasaray and their FA Cup quarter-final against Manchester City. While Chelsea are trying to overturn a 3-goal deficit against Paris Saint-Germain in Europe. While Villa are juggling the Europa League alongside their push for the top 4. United simply play football, train, recover, prepare, win. The single-minded focus that Carrick's interim brief allows is actually one of the most significant structural advantages United possess in the final stretch of this season, and it is an advantage that Carrick has spoken about privately with his players as a source of genuine strength rather than a limitation. Victories in United's next 6 league matches would lock in a top 4 finish as early as the weekend of May 9th, regardless of what Liverpool and Chelsea do in their other games. 6 wins from 6. Against Bournemouth, Leeds, Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool and Sunderland. That is the path to certainty. That is the sequence that Carrick is building towards, one match at a time, one preparation at a time, one performance at a time. Friday night brings Bournemouth away, and the injury news heading into the South Coast trip is the most positive it has been since Carrick first took charge. The matchday squad against Villa included a double fitness boost that sent genuine excitement through the entire club, with both Mason Mount and Noussair Mazraoui named on the bench despite both having been considered significant doubts in the days leading up to the match. Neither player featured in the victory, but their presence in the matchday squad represents the most important signal possible that both are building back towards full availability, and Carrick will be hoping that another week of training and recovery puts them in contention to contribute at the Vitality Stadium on Friday evening. Mason Mount's potential return is particularly significant for the balance and the creativity of United's midfield. The England international has barely featured under Carrick after picking up a training injury following his cameo in the January win over Manchester City, and his ability to operate between the lines, to find pockets of space in tight areas, and to connect midfield to attack with quick and intelligent combinations is precisely the kind of technical quality that gives United a different dimension in possession. Getting Mount back to full match fitness over the coming weeks could be the factor that gives Carrick's side an additional layer of attacking sophistication for the decisive final stretch of the season. Noussair Mazraoui's return from the undisclosed knock he sustained during the Newcastle defeat is equally welcome given the defensive options Carrick has been working with in recent weeks. The Moroccan fullback made his first start since returning from AFCON in that Newcastle game before the injury disrupted his momentum again, and having him back in the matchday squad provides Carrick with more flexibility in how he manages both the right-back position and the overall defensive shape of the team. The more complex and more frustrating injury situations centre on the players whose absences have been measured in weeks rather than days. Lisandro Martinez has not featured for United since failing to make the squad for the Everton win last month, after sustaining the calf injury that has kept him sidelined through some of the most important matches of the entire season. Carrick's initial prediction was a couple of weeks of absence, and if that prognosis proves accurate, the Argentine could be targeting a return as soon as Friday's trip to Bournemouth. The defender has been a central figure in every positive result Carrick produced in the early stages of his tenure, completing 90 minutes in each of the first 5 league games under the new manager, and his organisational quality and defensive leadership alongside Harry Maguire gives United a different level of solidity and confidence in the backline. Getting Martinez back into the lineup as quickly as possible is one of Carrick's most pressing priorities heading into the final 8 games. Matthijs de Ligt remains the most extended absence in the squad, the Dutch centre-back having not featured since sustaining a lower back injury at Crystal Palace back in November. Carrick has been careful and measured in his public updates about de Ligt, acknowledging the difficulty of pinning down a precise timeline for a back injury while consistently emphasising that the player is improving and that the medical staff are working towards getting him back as quickly as safely possible. The honest assessment at this stage suggests de Ligt's return is unlikely before April at the earliest, and United must continue to manage without him for the crucial run-in. Patrick Dorgu is the other significant long-term absentee, the Danish wingback whose impact under Carrick had been so electric before his severe hamstring tear sustained in the Arsenal win in January. The initial 10-week prognosis points towards an April return, and Denmark national team coach Brian Riemer's comments suggesting Dorgu could be available for the March international break have been tempered by the reality of what a significant hamstring injury requires in terms of proper rehabilitation time. The focus is on getting Dorgu back fully fit, rather than rushing a return, and when he does come back, he will be a significant additional weapon for Carrick in the weeks that remain. Beyond the immediate focus on Bournemouth, the transfer planning that will shape Manchester United's future beyond this season is already well advanced, and the news emerging from the club's hierarchy this week confirms the direction of travel for the summer window. United have identified the midfield as the most critical area requiring investment, with club officials in agreement that 2 midfielders must be signed following Casemiro's confirmed departure when his contract expires at the end of the season. The Brazilian's exit will leave United with only Manuel Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo as recognised senior central midfield options, a number that is clearly insufficient for a club aiming to compete on multiple fronts in the Champions League era. The names being monitored are a fascinating collection of Premier League talent, with Newcastle's Sandro Tonali leading the list of potential targets, a player whose quality and whose Champions League experience would immediately elevate the level of United's midfield. Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton, Nottingham Forest's Elliot Anderson, Brighton's Carlos Baleba, and Bournemouth's Alex Scott are all being studied as potential additions, with Wharton specifically identified as keen to join a Champions League club, which gives United's current third-place position an additional layer of recruitment significance. Landing Wharton could be made considerably easier if United secure the top 4 finish that would allow them to offer the Palace midfielder the European stage he is reportedly seeking. Manchester City are understood to be the frontrunners for Elliot Anderson, which could complicate United's pursuit of the Nottingham Forest midfielder. But the broader picture of United's summer planning suggests a coordinated and intelligent approach to strengthening the squad that reflects the genuine ambition and the genuine direction that has been restored to this football club under Ineos ownership.